Hi, Will. We're just starting. You've just timed that perfectly. Okay. Can everyone see that?
Yep.
Give me a sign.
Yes.
Yeah, perfect. Okay. So, music production for beginners, for singer-songwriters specifically. So, I want to share with you guys why it took me till I was 27 to learn, because I think this is a big reason why I'm actually on this call with you right now, because I think for me, sharing my journey might help other people in a similar position, maybe. And I think that, yeah, the main things really was that I thought music production was like a really technical thing, and that I needed to learn how to use 1,000 pieces of software and 1,000 pieces of equipment, which now I'm beginning to realize is actually not the case. I mean, it's obviously helpful to know how to use all these things, but I don't think that's the core part of what production is about. Secondly, I thought that it was only something that men could do. Um, and I think that's probably largely in part to the fact that there is such a small, or there's not much representation of women in the field of music production. It's getting a lot better though, and I think like social media is great because the female producers that are out there now have got a platform to share their work and share what they're doing. So I think it is slowly getting better, but I just think if you can't see people like you doing the thing you want to do, it's very hard to visualize yourself doing it. The third, not knowing where to start. It can just be very overwhelming because you feel like you need to know everything. Thinking that I was too old and I missed the mark, which I've worked very hard the last couple of years to overcome this mental hurdle of because I'm 31 now, and yeah, I started when I was 27. So I had this embedded thing in my brain of I've missed my opportunity, which is kind of crazy, but also I think in music specifically for women, there's a pressure to have made it by the time you're 25 or something. So I think that whole expectation is changing. And at the end of the day, I think the time's going to pass anyway. So if you start today or you don't start today, in 5 years' time, you could have had 5 years experience, or you could have just told yourself, oh, I'm too old and have not started. So you may as well just start, basically. That's what I'm trying to say. Um, and also the last thing was not realizing the value that I had as a songwriter. Um, and I might get into that a bit more in the next slide. Right. So this is specifically a tutorial for singer-songwriters wanting to start music production. So in this regard, I really believe that if you can focus on your songwriting skills and get the song really, really good, then the technical stuff, in my opinion, you can get the most crisp recording, but at the end of the day, if the song isn't good or meaningful, then I think you kind of need both. But uh yeah. Anyway, I'll just kind of go through what I've said here. Um, yeah. Good. What do I write? Technical knowledge and gear without a good song is like having a nice car without a road to drive it on. So I've generated a little picture here. Just chat GBT. Gotta love it. Uh, and like a good test is if you're playing a song on the piano or the guitar and it feels really good, I think that's a really good sign that to then start digging into the more of the production stuff. Uh, Good production won't make a bad song good. I think that's important. And a good song will produce itself. And quite often, what I found is that if a song is really strong in its foundation and the chords and the vocal, the melody, the lyric, then the production tends to somehow wrap around the song in quite an organic way. It kind of the song will sort of have natural arcs and builds, and you can kind of have the production supporting the song. So that's also just something that I think anyway. Uh, gear, very basic to start anyway. I think really you need just a laptop, headphones, the digital audio workspace, a microphone. A USB microphone is absolutely fine. The first release I ever had on a big label was a vocal that I recorded on a USB microphone, and they didn't even know the difference really. So I think that's fine, especially when you're starting. And yeah, audio interface I think is optional. Okay, we're gonna get into, I made a little project earlier today, so I'm gonna switch to that. All right, bear with me. Okay, I'm gonna play this and I'm hoping the audio will work. Can you guys hear that? No?
No.
Okay. The first hurdle has emerged. All right, this is actually probably a good lesson as well. Like shit goes wrong all the time and you just need to figure it out. Okay, here we go. Share sound. That looks promising. Okay, how about now? Can you hear that?
No, still can't
No?
hear
For fuck's sake. I was like, yeah, nailed it.
it.
Nailed it. Absolutely not nailed it. Okay, just give me 1 minute. Yep. Well, I actually tested this all before and it still went wrong. So there you go. All right. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Share. Okay. Share for sound. Ethan, if you've got any brainwaves. Okay. Still no sound. All
No.
right. Okay. Okay. Maybe this will work.
I know that I
Yep,
look
there you
Oh, we
go.
got sound. Okay. There we go. Problem solving in action. Okay. Right. So this is a song I wrote a while ago, and today I just sort of recorded some basic layers. So I thought what I'll do, I know Ethan, you obviously are very advanced, but for the people who are starting, I want to show you just some real basics on the door. So this is Logic for anyone who doesn't know. I think, yeah, so GarageBand is sort of like the more basic version of Logic, which I think is already included on a lot of most Mac laptops. Um, so this is the door I like to use. It feels very intuitive to me. Um, so the main things, or the main functions, I guess, are adding the tracks. So by track, I mean like a audio track or a MIDI track. And audio is like recording through a microphone, um, so like vocals or yeah, literally any audio that you record. Whereas MIDI is like a virtual instrument. So to add a new track, it's just very simple. You just push the plus, you go audio, microphone, and then that will create a new track. And that's where you can record, say, a vocal or record a live piano or anything that you want to record. Okay. And then we've got MIDI, software instrument. So I'm just going to be put, so yeah, it will come up with a window here of all these different options. I know this can look very overwhelming, but once you spend more time on it, it won't become so overwhelming. I promise you. So studio piano, just for something basic. So that's populated here. And there's actually kind of something clever on this keyboard. You can go Command K. That will pop up with a little keyboard here. And you can play in your chords if you want, or anything else you want to play in. Uh, Otherwise, you can essentially plug in a MIDI keyboard into your laptop, which is also very straightforward. So that's basically all I've done here is I've recorded these different tracks using MIDI and audio. So what I thought I'd do is I haven't really edited any of this. So what I'm going to do is basically just spend 10 minutes or so editing it in a way that I probably normally would edit it. So does anyone have any questions? I will stop myself right now and pause. We're good?
Yeah, good.
Sweet. All right. Well, I'm just going to spend 10 minutes sort of mucking around on here. And yeah, if anyone has any questions, just feel free to sing out.
I know that I look alright. Pain can be easy to hide.
All right, I'm just going to talk as I go. So the lead vocal here, EQ is kind of the first thing I would usually put on. And if you want to just listen to a track on its own, you can push S, which will solo.
I know that I look alright. Pain can be easy to hide.
So this is called EQ. I don't know if you guys have delved into this world yet, but this basically tidies up some of the frequencies that are in a recording. So, for example, when I'm playing this,
I know that I look alright.
there's like a lot of there's some frequencies down here that aren't necessarily part of what the vocal is. They're kind of just like maybe background noises. So
I know that I look
to tidy it up, so to speak, you can just roll off the low end like this.
I know that I look alright.
So now it's just not going to basically pick up any of those low end frequencies that I don't want.
I know that I look alright. Pain can be easy to hide.
All right. And then I might put on a little bit of compression. All right. I feel like so Ethan, is there anything you'd like to say about compression? Because um for me, when I put compression on my vocal, I literally will go to a preset. I go to voice, I go studio vocal, and
I know that I look alright. Pain can
and that's usually just what I do. But also it's actually really great Ethan's on this call. So Ethan, Will, and Lara, you guys joined a bit later, but Ethan helps me finish my tracks and he like does a lot of the production on my work. So I will usually get him to help me with this more technical stuff because that's just like not really my area of expertise. Um, so presets basically are amazing. You don't necessarily need to know how all this stuff works. If you can just find a preset that you like and you can kind of tweak stuff as you go. Um, I think for the purpose of like creating work as a singer-songwriter and just getting it to a level where you think it sounds good, I think this is absolutely fine. Um, and of course, you can delve into this stuff like I think further down the track, but I think for now, just literally just picking a preset that you think sounds good is like absolutely fine.
I know that I look alright. Pain can be easy to hide.
So that's with it.
That I look alright. Pain can be easy to hide.
Right, so that's the vocal there. And then we've got some doubles.
I know that I look alright.
And because I'm lazy, I basically just copy and paste the channel strip setting. If I'm talking too fast, just let me know. And you can paste it just to save time because it's basically the same vocal.
I know that I look alright.
And then I like to pan one left, pan one right,
I know that I look alright. Pain can be easy to hide.
just like that. And then I've got these kind of vocal pads down here. Uh, Anne Marie, would you mind just muting your... Oh, I might just mute it for you. There we go. Thank you. So with anything backing vocal for me, I just slam it through pitch correction because I just like it like pulls all the notes aggressively into the right pitch, and B, I just like kind of like how it sounds. Like it kind of sounds a bit shit, but that's I don't know, I kind of like it. So then with these three, I'm going to put it into like a group. I'm going quite fast, possibly. So I click on this top one and then I push shift, click on that bottom one, right click, and then I'm going to create a stack, a summing stack. Why is that there? Go away. And then it's basically just put these three tracks into a folder, which you can expand or not expand. And now I can put an effects on this channel here, which will affect this whole group. So I actually got given this plugin by Serato the other day, and I was a little bit skeptical. I didn't really know, if it'd be any good, but this plugin is actually very, very versatile, and you can put it on almost anything, and it will make it sound kind of good. So I'm just going to play around with some presets just to show you guys what it can do. So I kind of want like an airy kind of reverbed vibe. So let me just go through here. These are all the different presets they have, and you can use it on drums, you can use it on vocals, you can literally use it on anything. Um, so yeah, very versatile. Oh, geez, that one's very... Okay. I think it's probably also worth mentioning that it's good to listen to stuff in the context of your song. Otherwise, you can go down a rabbit hole and then come out of it and realize it doesn't actually gel at all with the rest of the stuff you've done.
I know that I look alright. Pain can be easy to hide. I know that I look just fine. I buried some shit in the back of my mind. And I know that I look just fine. Pain can be easy to hide. I know that I look alright. I buried some shit in the back of my mind.
All right. Well, I think it's going on some crazy delay there. Uh, I think for the purposes of showing what I'm doing, I think that sounds all right. Okay, and yeah, and I've got some acoustic guitars here. And I'm by no means a guitar player, so bear with me. So yeah, again, I've just used a preset basically that's in Logic, which is this bar on the far left here. So yeah, you can type in any kind of effect you kind of want and you can just chuck it on. So yeah, Ethan, I will be coming to you with this soon. So yeah, a lot of this for me anyway is just to get all these ideas down so that I have something that feels in the realm of where I want the song to go, and then like finding the right people to work with to help take it from here to here. Uh, so I think yeah, collaboration is like a really big part of music production and just creating music. So yeah, this is the main piano part here. And if you double click, it will pull up. Actually, that's not a very good window. I think if you go Command 4, yeah. So this is the MIDI window, and in here you can manually change all the notes. So it's quite good for editing. And that's just a stock piano, which I honestly think I think it sounds pretty good. So like, yeah, everyone has if you're using Logic, you'll have access to the same piano. It might also be worth mentioning that I have got a weighted MIDI keyboard. So when I play the piano into my tracks, it's kind of got that humanistic feeling to it. Whereas if you're playing the notes in singularly, if everything's the same velocity, it can sound quite rigid. But I think having that humanized feel can just give it a bit more of a live sound. So yeah, I've got the bass here, which is just a stock plugin. I might try put that Serato plugin on. See, like that already sounds so much better. It's not even.
I look alright. I buried some shit in the back of my mind.
Yeah, so you can play around with that. Okay, and then this drum loop. There's one more thing I want to show you guys, which actually changed my life with production, and it's helped me so much um, just when I'm stuck for ideas or need inspiration. Like, particularly for me, drums are not my strong suit, so I like to use samples to get ideas. And I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard of Splice. But Splice is basically a platform where you've got access to thousands of sounds and samples, and it's very well organized. So, say if I want to find a drum sound, I can go in here, view all, BPM. The song's 72, so I will go for say 70, 75. And then this will churn out a whole bunch of drum grooves that will not play because it's being slow. Um, but yeah, essentially it will play a whole bunch of different drum options and you can just download and drag it straight into the project. And hopefully, yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know why that's being really slow. Um, but there's this, yeah, I'll show you one more thing, and that's basically Splice Bridge, which is kind of a new tool. I don't know if it's new actually. Is this a new tool, Ethan? Do you know? Um, I
I don't know how long it's been around for, but yeah, it's so good.
so yeah, Splice Bridge is amazing if say again, like I was saying, like if you're stuck for ideas or say you've got a guitar part in your voice and you're just sort of thinking, I don't know if I want to add a bass line, or I don't know if I want to add some interesting textural stuff. You can basically download Splice Bridge, which is just like a little insert as part of Splice. And essentially, you can open Splice. You can, yeah, have this Splice Bridge plugin on. And then
I know.
when you have Splice open and say, I want to find maybe I want a synth. Hmm. Maybe I want, maybe I want a violin part. And so I put in my, what do we call it? Criteria, if you will. So 75, and then the song key, which I think this is in the key of B flat. Let me just check. Yeah, B flat. And now basically I can play the song and try these different samples with the song playing, and it will automatically fit the sample into your song, so you can trial stuff without having to like download a bunch of different things.
I know that I look alright. Pain can be easy to hide. I know that I look just fine. I buried some shit in the back of my mind. And I know that I look just fine. Pain can be easy to hide. I know that I look alright. I buried some shit in the back of my mind.
I mean, they all sounded terrible, but you kind of get the gist. It will just like play the samples in time with your song. And then you can decide if you want to drag it into your project or not. Uh, so yeah, that's probably as far as I'm going to delve into on this, just because I don't want to overwhelm people. Um, but yeah, does anyone have any questions about this particular project or the door?
Is that you playing the bass, like an actual bass guitar?
So this is a MIDI bass, which
Okay.
is just a bass, like a virtual instrument.
Yeah.
But I also, a cheat you can do, and for the purpose of like creating something to show you guys, what I did was I recorded the piano part, then I duplicated the part, which is Command D. I went Option, hold down Option, and I dragged it down, and then I put the bass plugin on, bass plugin, and then I went in Command 4 and I deleted all these parts, etc., etc. So it was just the bass note. And then
Ah,
I use that as the bass part essentially for the track, which meant basically that it was just going to be in time. And it's just the root note of the chord. So it's not the most interesting bass pattern in the world. But I think if you just want to get something down, that can also be a little hack.
cool.
So yeah.
Another great hack. I'm not really good at using it yet because I don't really find myself needing to because obviously I can play bass. But another great tool to explore is the session players in Logic. Um,
Ah,
Basically they can it's kind of like the way Studio Drummer works, how it'll like play grooves to fit whatever you've already put in there. I think it's like Logic's version of like an AI player, but basically it'll
ah.
make you bass lines for the chords you've played in.
Oh,
It's super fun to mess around with. I just have no idea how to work it, but I've seen really
um,
good results.
okay, should we try this and see how it sounds? Let me mute
Yeah,
those.
yeah. I think. Yeah, I honestly don't really know how to work it because
I know
basically
that.
it feeds off of whatever chord information you've programmed in.
Okay, let's hear. I think this is either going to be great or like sound totally shit.
I think it also relies on you having like your like project key and everything all set. Like it
Oh,
requires a little bit of admin.
oh, okay.
Um,
Yeah, because I've got the project set to C and it's been blank.
yeah,
Okay, well
yeah.
maybe next time we can have a look at that. I just feel like that's probably going to sound garbage, and yeah, I'm because I've never used that tool, so that's also something new for me. Okay, all right. Well, that was really great, and there's still one little thing left on the slideshow. Okay, so we've done the door tour. Um, yeah, there's just a couple more slides here, which is basically how to develop your own production style. And number one is fuck around and find out. Like, you literally just have to fuck around. Like, go on Splice and maybe pick out a drum, a drum sound, like a kick and a snare, a bass sound you really like, a guitar sound you really like, a piano sound you really like. And when you come across a sound that you really like, you'll just have this exciting feeling in your gut. You just get this reaction, and that you just need to follow that and just keep following it. And then eventually you'll get to a point where you'll have your own sonic palette, so to speak. Um, so yeah, it's just practicing and just figuring out what you like and what you don't like. Um, I think, yeah, listening to a lot of music is obviously a big one. And the more you play around on your door and practice, you'll develop your critical listening skills. So when you hear a song, you'll be able to go, rather than just, oh, I like the song, you'll be able to go, oh, I really like how they've processed the drums, or I like how the vocals sound really dry. There's not much processing, or maybe they've gone super far with the processing. So it's just a combination of practicing and just sort of maybe cherry picking from other people's work as well, but not copying musically anyway. Um, yeah, collaboration is a really big one. Work with people that are better than you, and work with people that have got complementary skill sets. Because, yeah, I work with Ethan, and Ethan's really amazing with, um, listening. He's got a very good like listening for certain notes on things, whereas I'm kind of more like a conceptual person. So I think, yeah, having those balancing skill sets can be really good. Uh, what else have I got? Oh yeah, using Splice. So I think Splice is a really amazing tool to generate ideas and kind of get yourself started, and maybe for more of the background components. But I would say be really careful if, say, you're pulling an entire guitar riff off of Splice and then using that as like the core component of your song. An example is this May Muller. She's like a UK pop artist, and she put out a song called In My Head, and the guitar riff, you can tell it's been pulled off Splice. And the riff sounds exactly like a King Cruel song. And basically, everyone on TikTok is commenting on her page saying she's ripped off the song. So it's technically legal because the samples are all royalty free. Is that right, Ethan? I think it's legal to do that, but you,
Yeah, totally. You can use whatever you want. The
yeah.
best example of of this exact concept you're talking about is that song called Espresso, which literally the entire song is splice loops.
Yeah. Yeah, and obviously it's a good song and that worked, but also, you know, there's also could be 1,000 other people using the exact same thing, and like your song might sound exactly the same, and there's nothing you can really do about it. So I think it's good for getting ideas and getting started, but it's also good to re-record stuff and tweak stuff and make stuff your own. I think that's probably the main thing. Yeah, presets are your friend, which I kind of showed you on my session. I essentially have presets on every single plugin that I use, and then I just tweak it as I go. Um, yeah, I think the other point I wanted to say was you don't need to know how to do everything. Like, I think when I first started, I had this idea in my head that I needed to be the best piano player, the best guitar player, the best singer, the best at mixing, the best at everything, and it kind of just got very overwhelming. But I think you just need to maybe start with the things that you're confident or comfortable with. Say you play an instrument and you sing, like that's an absolutely amazing place to start from. And if you can get down a really good guitar part and your vocal, that's amazing. And you can build around that and kind of from some of the tools I was showing you, like Splice and what Ethan was telling you about the inbuilt session players on Logic, and there's so many different pieces of software that can help you fill in the gaps. So you don't need to know how to do everything. It's good to be able to do everything, but also don't let that make you feel overwhelmed. Uh, yeah. So I've started a Discord because I thought it'd be cool just to have a place where people can share tutorials or ideas or stuff they're working on. Um, and I'm also really open to other tutorial ideas. So if you guys have any more questions for me, let me know or any feedback. Yeah, I'd love to hear any or yeah, questions, let me know. Oh, okay, chat. Thank you. Thanks, Ella. Thank you so much for joining.
Future questions, should we hit you on Discord or can I ask something now or
Yeah, you can ask me now.
um so like I have a problem with loudness sometimes. Like I'll export a song, like it sounds nice and loud in Logic, and then I'll export it to iTunes and it's just not as loud.
Okay. Ethan.
Like for some songs it's like completely fine. It's nice and loud, and then other stuff it just changes when I export it to iTunes. I don't know what's happening.
Um, it might be so is it when you just so sorry, when you export it, is it immediately when you export it or is it when you put it onto iTunes, it goes quieter?
As soon as it as soon as it pops up in iTunes and I listen to it on iTunes, sometimes it's just not as loud as it sounds on Logic when I play it through Logic.
Okay, and when you export it, is it so say when you drag it onto your desktop and you listen to it, the MP3, that's still quiet.
Actually, that's a good point. I haven't tried that.
Because it might be, because you might just need to troubleshoot where it could be at the exporting level where maybe you haven't, you've bypassed some of the plugins that you've put on the master channel. That could be a reason why it's quieter.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, maybe just export it and listen to it on a few different in a few different ways, and then you can kind of yeah
Yeah,
eliminate reasons as to why it might be doing that.
cool. Thank you.
Lara, how much music theory do you need? Um, honestly, I didn't even learn. I knew kind of basic theory coming into doing all this sort of stuff. So I don't think you really need to know that much. I think if you can play by ear, if something sounds good to you, then that's a really good approach as well. I think also that can be a really creative approach. Um, also, if you can use a platform like Splice where you're pulling ideas, you can generate samples that are all in the same key. So, say if you're writing a song in the key of C, uh, you can pull a bunch of samples that will fit that key. But I would say learning your basic it's so Anne Marie's basically my music teacher. So she's she's listening to me right now going, what the fuck, Sarah? Anne Marie taught me music in high school. But I think personally it's really helpful to know all your basic scales. And when I was living in London and it was COVID lockdown, I in the morning would make a cup of coffee and I would sit at my keyboard and I would just practice each of my main scales for like 15, 20 minutes. And that helped me so much just to kind of get my head around what notes and what chords live in different keys. Um, so the short answer is you don't really need to know any theory, but I think ultimately it can be really helpful to know your basic scales. Yeah, hopefully that answered your question.
Yeah, yeah, it does. But I guess I have to do a lot more work then.
Well,
I
there's
don't know any
also
scales.
there's also you know how I was saying, there's plugins and everything for every gap you might have in your knowledge, there's going to be a plugin that can help you. So I know that there are chord I don't use these myself, but there are plugins where they will literally generate chord progression ideas for you, and help with all the theory stuff as well. So there's definitely workarounds for things, but yeah, I also do really recommend like learning basic theory can be really helpful.
Okay, good to know. Thank you so much.
No worries. Thanks for joining. Any other questions? Or is there anything else you guys think would be useful, like in terms of doing any kind of tutorial stuff? Like, do you think doing a full run through of a song would be helpful? Or I don't know, doing like making a song from scratch potentially? Um,
I am hoping to send some of my students to you for your next one, Sarah.
yeah,
And it would be great if you did what you've just described, recording a song, and I think also talking about mastering um, could be helpful as well. There's so many AI tools for
mm,
mastering now that kind of cuts down that whole process, which
yeah.
is good.
I'm not really in the mastering realm. I mean, for me, my whole
Just basics, so that people understand that it's
yeah.
a process. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, presets. Presets are your friend, just presets on everything. And if something doesn't sound quite right, you can just tweak them. But yeah, I'm happy to do this again with some of your students. Will, did you have a question?
Uh, yeah, I reckon doing a song from scratch, that'd be a good tutorial. And I don't know, another question. Who is one of your biggest music inspirations?
That's a really good question. I think I really like Dan Nigro, who does all of Olivia Rodrigo and Chappell Roan's production. Um, I think his journey is, in a weird way, I feel like I'm on a similar, I don't know if I would be as prolific as Dan Nigro, but he started as a songwriter and he was in bands and he was an artist for a very long time, up until he was in his 30s, early 30s. And then he went into music production. So I think producers that have got a really strong songwriting foundation uh, are people who I think are creating really amazing work. And I think again, coming at production from a singer-songwriter angle, for me, ultimately, the song is the most important part of it all. And then everything else is like, it's like putting the cherries on the cake, if that makes sense, you know?
Yep.
Um, and building the production around the song for me anyway. But there's no rules, and also amazing songs can come from uh, an instrumental. So there's absolutely no right or wrong way. This is just like for me personally how I like to create music. But I think that's the fun and exciting part about music is that it's so it's so personal and if there are components of it that you really love, maybe it's sound design, maybe it's um maybe you just love like electronic music, or maybe you love instrumentals, or maybe there's you love creating, maybe you play a horn instrument and you just want to like make a fucking soundscape with a bunch of trumpets. Like there's just so many different things you can do, and I think once you find the thread that you love and you just follow that, then that's where it starts to become really fun and exciting. But yeah, hopefully that answers your question.